Dear students, as you all know, we are going through a pandemic. The world is suffering from COVID-19. You all are shut in your houses, locked down. You cannot move to your schools, and so you are sitting idle at your homes. Even we as teachers are sitting idle. So you cannot follow your classes and you cannot study properly. Thus, I have thought of just making you understand the Merchant of Venice for the ICC School Board children who really need the help for their studies. It is a play by William Shakespeare, and as new students of class 9, it is very difficult for you because the language is not ordinary English. It is written in 16th century English and thus very difficult for you. So I have thought of just approaching you through this social medium so that you can understand the Merchant of Venice thoroughly and very nicely. Now let us start with the Merchant of Venice. The Merchant of Venice is a play by William Shakespeare. It is a play of 5 acts. It's a comedy. You all know the basic concept of comedy is that it ends with a happy ending, though there may be many problems in between, but the play ends with reunion of separated souls. It also ends sometimes with marriages and happiness. Thus here also we will see that all the characters meet at the end and justice is given. The action of the entire play takes place in Venice and in Belmont. Venice is a city built on the north of the sea coast of Italy. In fact, it is built over a lagoon. Belmont is imaginary. Now let me introduce the main characters. In the very beginning, we have Antonio, the Merchant of Venice. The whole play centers around him. He is a kind, generous, and loving man. He loves to help each one in need and never expects anyone to help him back. He is a Christian. Next we have Bassanio, a young man, a spendthrift, a person who has completely finished all his money and is largely in debts. He solely depends on Antonio, his best friend, and he wants to overcome all his debts by marrying an heiress. We also have Shylock, a Jew, a moneylender, who lends money to everyone and takes back a huge amount of interest. He is a greedy person and hated by all. He even hates Antonio and wants to take revenge from him for various reasons. Portia, the Lady of Belmont, she is an heiress to a good fortune. She is bound by her dead father's wishes and can marry only the person who chooses the right casket. She is in love with Bassanio. Jessica, Shylock's daughter, a Jew by birth. She loves Lorenzo, who is a Christian, and she wants to marry him in spite of the thought that pains that she has to leave her father and run away from her house. Nerissa, Portia's attendant, she falls in love with Gratiano, who is Lorenzo's and Bassanio's friend. She even accompanies Portia everywhere. Even when Portia goes to Venice as dressed as a lawyer, she also accompanies her as the lawyer's clerk. There are also many minor characters. The Duke of Venice, who grants justice to all. Justice is equal according to him in Venice. We also have Launcelot Gobbo, who plays the role of Shakespeare's fool. there is Lancelot Gobbo's father, old Gobbo. We have Salario and Salanio, who are also known as Solanio and Salarino in some of the books. You will find them. And they are all friends of Antonio. Now let us start with Act-1, Scene-1 of The Merchant of Venice. This scene takes place in a street of Venice. We find Antonio, Salario and Solanio together. Antonio is very sad and his friends try to make him cheerful. Antonio says, "In sooth, I know not why I am so sad. It wearies me. You say it wearies you. But how I caught it, found it, or came by it, what stuff it is made of, whereof it is born, I am to learn. And such a want with sadness makes of me, that I have much ado to know myself." So we find, students, that Antonio tells that really he is very sad. But he does not know that he is sad. This sadness tires him. He even says that it makes his friends tired. But he does not know how he got this sadness, how he found it or came across it. What is the sadness made up of? What is the origin, or where is the origin of this sadness? He does not know. He says that he is yet to learn. And he even says, want with sadness. This means that he says that this sadness has turned him into a foolish person. Thus, Antonio's sadness has turned him into a melancholic person. He feels himself to be very foolish. And he even says that it takes him much trouble to know himself. His friends Salario and Solanio try to make him understand that his sadness is for his ships, as his merchant ships, the argosies, are on sea. As I have already told you, that Salarino is also known as Salario. So we find that Salarino says, your mind is tossing on the ocean, there where your argosies with portly sail, like cygnias and rich burghers on the flood, or as it were the pageants of the sea do overpeer the petty traffickers, the curtsy to them, do them reverence, as they fly by them with woven wings. Thus, Salarino says that Antonio is sad, he is in a melancholic mood because all his merchant ships, his argosies, are on the sea. He says that they are sailing on the sea like rich cygnias and rich burghers on the flood. Which means that they are so big ships that as if they are having a pageant on the sea. And commercial ships are sailing beside his ships and showing courtesy to them as they are moving with woven wings. Salanio tries to make Antonio understand that if his ships would be on the sea like Antonio's ships, his affections, his feelings, his concerns, everything would be with his ships abroad. He should be plucking the grass to see the direction of the wind and think of the wind, what the wind could do when it was blowing on the sea. He would also look into the maps for ports, for piers, for harbors, and each and every object that could harm his ships. And all these things would surely make him very, very sad. And thus he tries to prove and to make Antonio understand that he is sad because of his ships. That's all for today, students. I'll resume the next portion in my next class. I have already told you in the beginning that Shakespearean English is very difficult. But you have to read the text regularly so that you get accustomed to it and you can learn it by heart. So it is my request to all the students, read the text repeatedly, go through the meanings which are given at the sides and read it again and again. Thank you.